Recently, there have been reports of new PS5 dev kits being sent to developers, specifically studios that are closely linked to Sony. Since we are this far into the life cycle of the PS5, it would make no sense to have new dev kits sent out unless they were PS5 Pro dev kits, thus causing many rumors to spread. Quite frankly, these rumors are likely correct, as we are past the time you might expect for a PS5 Slim or Pro model to be out. No doubt we can thank COVID and the production issues for that. Anyway, looking at these rumors, I get a nagging feeling. I can't help but fear what a PS5 Pro will bring with it into the current gaming landscape. This gaming generation has been anything but smooth, and a PS5 Pro may cause more issues. But I also cannot ignore that for many gamers, the PS5 Pro can be life-changing for various reasons. Let's start with the good. First things first, the rumors are that the PS5 Pro would be a beast of a console. Apparently, it would be around double the power of the current PS5, which seems a little too good to be true. Yet, even if it was more powerful by 50%, that would be extremely enticing. Why? Because you would not need to choose between graphical modes prioritizing 60 FPS or ones that target 4K at 30 FPS. You can now have both at native 4K 60. Okay, let's be real, it'll probably be upscaled to 4K 60 for most of these games, but whatever, it'll still look and play nice. But anyway, it also means that it will play base PS5 games perfectly. Current PS5 games would likely have updated settings that the PS5 Pro can take advantage of, just like the PS4 Pro. Secondly, the price and value will likely be great. I only think this because of how they priced the PS4 Pro. For context, the PS4 Pro released at $400 and Sony dropped the base PS4 version to $300, while the slim PS4 SKU was retailing at $300 as well. Based off this and how Sony likes to price its products, the PS5 Pro will likely be $500 or possibly $550 at most on the high end, but personally that $500 mark seems the most likely to me. I don't think Sony or anyone else will ever get over that $600 PS3 release price. Even with inflation, they'll forever try to avoid that price tag. So a $500 console where you can play 4K gaming at great FPS, that's a value unheard of in this era of gaming. That value would be incredible for many and it would likely sell very well. I believe this because the PS4 Pro exceeded expectations. Though the PS4 Pro sales numbers are not reported, Jim Ryan, the CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, said in 2017 during an interview that the PS4 Pro represents nearly 1 in every 5 PS4s sold. The PlayStation 4's lifetime sales are over 117 million, so 1/5 of that would be around 23 million units sold for the Pro. That's significant. Thirdly, a PS5 Pro would also likely mean a price drop for the base PS5, and a slim model would likely be cheaper as well if it releases. If I had to guess, the PS5 will stay likely around $400 for the disc version, with the digital being maybe around $350. This means that it would allow others to spend less on a PS5 overall, which is always great. There are of course many other benefits to a PS5 Pro releasing as well. Streaming on YouTube or Twitch will be even better. It could enhance PSVR games, recording gameplay clips at higher resolutions would be awesome. A faster, larger SSD could be included, and PCIe Gen 5 SSDs are starting to become a thing, so it may have support for that to future-proof the console as well. The list goes on, but I'll stop there, because I do want to get into my worry of a PS5 Pro in this market. So let's get into this worry of mine. And the worry is this: a PS5 Pro can make the gaming experience worse for a majority of gamers. Allow me to explain what I mean by setting up context first. The Pro is already rumored to be twice as powerful as the PS5. At first glance, this could seem unlikely because the PS4 Pro was only marginally better than the base PS4. However, the PS4 Pro came out 3 years after the base PS4 did, in November of 2016. This timeline's very important because Sony and Microsoft need to figure out their new consoles years ahead of time. They need to know what parts to use and order, as well as when and how they will assemble the console. This process happens well before the console begins production. In other words, the PS5 releasing in 2020 means the tech in it is likely from 2018. This is substantial because the PS4 Pro releasing 3 years after the PS4 means, at best, the tech being used was from late 2014. So all this means is that a 4-year difference in console SKUs is substantial. New graphics cards release, on average, every 2 years. Nvidia, for example, shows how going from one generation of cards to the next yields noticeable differences. Most of the time. And again, that's about a 2-year cycle. Basically, that means the Pro is likely utilizing far more powerful technology since it's been a 4-year gap. Even more, because of COVID, many parts were backordered and there was limited consoles and graphics cards that could be made. This likely caused a further delay in the process of completing a new PS5 SKU, meaning the longer Sony had to wait, the better the technology was becoming. Technology they otherwise could not have included, but now can because of the backorder issues. Now, like I mentioned previously, I don't believe that the PS5 Pro's power is going to be double of that of the PS5, but looking at these 2-year cycles of graphics cards, it is going to be quite a substantial jump from the base PS5 to the Pro. At first glance, this all sounds awesome, so how is this a bad thing? Why am I worried and what makes this dangerous? Simply put, it is bad because the devs may want to include features that technically work on both SKUs of the PS5, such as ray-traced features, but those features run horribly on the base PS5, making it a bad gaming experience. Now, you may think they might create 2 unique versions of the game, one for PS5 and the other for the Pro, but evidence points toward the contrary. Games are being released with these graphical intensive features, things the PS5 can't properly handle. So logically, you'd think the devs would turn off those settings in a mode that targets high FPS. Yet, we have examples of this not happening. In recent games, you're stuck with the ray-traced features, no matter which mode. And recently, in Immortals of Avium, so many Unreal Engine 5 features are being utilized that the game needs to be upscaled to hell. There is no version of these games where those features are turned off. So what will happen if the PS5 Pro can handle these features, but the PS5 cannot? Basically, the devs may say enough is enough when tuning the game. If it runs okay on the base PS5 and perfectly on the Pro, then they may stop trying to optimize the game on the base PS5 version. If it was just that base version, they may have tried to continue working on the game's performance issues. Jedi Survivor just had its 7th patch that pretty much allows the game to run at 60 FPS in performance mode.
Then we decided to come and rescue you. Good job!
I don't know if those devs would have bothered fixing this base PS5 version with all these patches if a PS5 Pro version ran perfectly. In other words, devs may become dependent on the newer hardware to the extent that the games on the base PS5 will not run as well as they would otherwise. Now, of course, there are wonderful studios out there who develop games that run and look beautifully, but many devs are not competent enough to do that. Obviously, there are other worries too, like how having a PS5 Pro means the devs would need to tune their game to another console. The console itself may be too expensive, etc. Ultimately, we'll have to wait and see how a PS5 Pro will actually affect the market, but until then, these are my worries I think about. There is one final thing I want to say. Of all console generations, this is the one that needs a Pro the most, and also the generation that does not need a Pro at all. Games are releasing in horrible states, and many games are being upscaled to hell as a solution for developers lacking skill. Would a PS5 Pro help? Definitely. All those games would run much smoother, but that does not mean we need a PS5 Pro. Instead, there is another solution, and it's having these game studios release a game in a proper working state. What I'm getting at, and what I'm really saying, is that a PS5 Pro is a solution to make the games run better, but it is not the solution. Regardless, there is no getting off this train we're on. The PS5 Pro is coming. Only time will tell how it will affect the industry. As always, I would like to thank everyone for watching, and I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. I will see you all in the next video.